All right, hello there and welcome to this brand spanking new edition of 5RoundMMA. I'm Alex Ramirez, alongside me is Albert Cita and Guillermo Cita. Happy 4th of July weekend, everybody. How you guys doing?
Good.
Awesome.
It's too bad that the U.S. couldn't advance. I mean, it would have been a great weekend with the 4th of July holiday.
Tough week.
Yeah, actually, my fever was in an all-time high. That the only way I was able to get rid of it was to go watch a Galaxy game. And I can't even remember the last time I saw a Galaxy game. So,
just a note to our listeners out there that we're recording this session before the BJ Penn Frank Yeager match because it is 4th of July weekend, so it's kind of rough to get everybody all together at once. So we're kind of just a makeshift episode this week. So we won't have a reaction to that, but just real quick thoughts on that fight. Who do you got? BJ Penn or Frankie?
BJ Penn.
I got Frankie Edgar.
I got BJ Penn. I got BJ Penn early for some reason. I got this feeling.
Yeah, you should have saw him in the weigh-ins. He looked very determined and very healthy.
So we'll see if I'm wrong on that one. This week we got all the fallout from UFC 175. Albert's heart is broken. Machida fought valiantly, but came up just short. Ronda Rousey is a demolisher of women.
Yeah, actually, we're not filming this podcast, which is a good thing because if you see me, I look like hell.
His eyes are, completely red.
He didn't sleep all night.
He's been crying all night. You can tell.
It was a tough night.
We also got Jason Hendricks on our good friend. We're gonna call him later. Get his reaction to UFC 175 because he's such a big Chris Weidman fan or Machida hater. What is it, Albert?
He's a hater. He's a hater. He's an Irish fan, so he's a hater.
Notre Dame fan.
Notre Dame.
Also, we'll talk about some upcoming fight nights. Got Donald Cerrone against Jim Miller? Dan Miller.
It's Jim
Miller.
Dan Miller's retired.
Your boy Conor McGregor Guillermo is going to be fighting next week as well. Yeah. But as for right now, UFC 175 is in the books. Huge card. Let's play some What to Tweet, yeah?
Yeah, let's do it. What to Tweet?
I'm going to do something my chick couldn't do last time. A sweet watch.
All right, so the premise of What to Tweet, we should do after a big card. You know, the world Twitter was blowing up with hashtag UFC 175. So I kind of gathered the top 5 best tweets of the night, and I want Guillermo and Albert to guess who tweeted it out. So first one, Ronda Rousey be dusting chicks off like housemaids be do dirty curtains.
Whoa. That's a good one, though.
That's a guess. Was it A, Rashad Evans, B, Daniel Cormier, or C, Derek Brunson? Albert.
It's Derek Brunson.
Guillermo.
I'm going to say C, Derek Brunson.
You guys are both right. It was Derek Brunson.
I don't want you tell
me. Well, he could have gone to me first.
I'm going to go okay. All right, number 2. Every guy in the universe now officially afraid to hug Ronda Rousey. Is it A, Kenny Florian, B, Boss Rutan, C, The Rock? Guillermo.
It'd be A, Kenny Florian.
It's A, Kenny Florian.
You guys are both right again.
Why are you copying me?
I'm not. Just Kenny Florian likes to make hug jokes, okay?
Okay.
He does.
You're probably not. Number 3, phenomenal. Weidman is a beast, Lyoto is a warrior, and Rousey can throw you so hard your bones escape your body. I need sleep. Is it A, Conor McGregor, B, Michael Bisping, or C, Ben Askren? Albert.
I go first?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Conor McGregor.
I'm going to say C.
Albert pulls away. It's the lead.
Bisping.
Ben Askren. Oh, no, it was Conor McGregor. Sorry. Conor McGregor would have said it. Number 4. This is a brilliant fight. Impressed with Machida's footwork and the pressure by the champ. A, Sarah Kaufman, B, Tim Kennedy, or C, Mark Munoz?
C, Mark Munoz.
I'm going to say Tim Kennedy.
You're right, Tim Kennedy.
What? He got lucky. Wow.
I'm telling you, man. I know my fighters. The only time you guys ever threw me off was when I was in Oregon, and that's because it was the atmosphere.
Portlandia, Voodoo Donuts.
Yeah, I mean, you walked around, everything smelled funny. I don't want to say what it smelled.
That's what it was.
How did you know that?
I was surprised to do that, too. Last one. I want to have Ronda Rousey's children to know what it's like to have her
Every
babies.
MMA fighter.
Yes, I will be burying them. Is it A, Bubba McDaniel, B, Joe Rogan, or C, Joseph Benavidez? Guillermo, go.
Me again? A.
Bubba McDaniel?
Bubba McDaniel.
It is Bubba McDaniel.
It is Bubba McDaniel. So I think you won, right, by 1?
Yeah. Clean sweep, son. I got them all right.
It was a clean sweep. So that's what the tweet, obviously. And we want to try to get more fans to do that, too, with their tweets.
Yeah, see if they can.
Hashtag 5RoundMMA.
Get some,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We'll see if we get some participation.
We should do like Jimmy Kimmel, you know, the mean tweets.
Oh, yeah. About us. I don't know if we can take it.
Well, no, not about us, but about like the UFC fight card.
No, it's going to be about it.
It's about us. You guys are idiots. Slub over the mic. A boring MMA show. Talk show.
Don't show any more amateur fights.
All right, we love you guys out there. So coming up next, we'll do the UFC 175 recap with our good friend Jason Hendricks. So stick around.
Please visit FiveRoundMMA.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. FiveRoundMMA.com.
All right, welcome back. Now with us on the line now is All-American Jason Hendricks. How's it going, Jason?
It's going great. I'm feeling really American today.
So, we're going to talk about UFC 175 right now. Obviously, out of the three of us, Jason Hendricks is probably the biggest. Are you the biggest Weidman fan or the biggest Machida deterrent? What's the answer to that one?
I'd say the biggest Weidman fan. I definitely don't like Machida, but I'm just definitely all about Weidman's style and his All-American insignia. I think he's
Since you're just you're such a huge Chris Weidman fan, who did he fight against in his debut? Yeah, exactly.
So before we start to UFC 175, Saturday was a huge day for MMA. Obviously, in the day early on in the day was World Series of Fighting 11, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you check that out?
Yeah, it was good. It was a really good card.
I'm gonna get your thoughts on Nick Newell's performance, man. I think the guy showed a ton of heart. He came up short against Justin Gaethje, but I mean, an awesome fight. I mean, he said, "Dude, it was a war, and he brought it."
Yeah, definitely. And then I don't understand why Nick Newell doesn't get more mainstream media attention. I mean, you know, he's a good fighter. The guy is a better competitor than a lot of guys with two arms, and he's got one and a half. I'm not trying to make that a joke. Like, realistically, the guy can really fight with one arm basically, and he brought the fight to him. I mean, Gaethje is a stud. Gaethje is somebody that goes out there and pushed the fight the entire time, and he hurt him toward the end of the first round. He almost submitted him. And then Newell fought it off, came out, and just got dominated into the second round, and the ref ended up stopping it, via strikes. But Newell definitely showed a lot of heart, and there was a lot of mutual respect from both guys. But Gaethje's just a monster, so I think he's going to be with that title as long as he wants to.
Yeah, I thought Justin Gaethje looked really good. Nick Newell actually, I thought he did pretty good. Maybe the first half of the first round, and then he was just overwhelmed. Do you think that he probably just got kind of thrown to the main event too early? I really think he should have eased on to that role rather than kind of being thrown to the wolves like that, I thought.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility, but you got to understand from Ray Seffo's standpoint, he's obviously a draw in some he's got that name, he's got the kind of the gimmick or whatever, if you want to call it that, but bottom line is it probably was too soon. I don't know if he's championship material, but bottom line is every time Nick Newell goes out there, he's going to put on an entertaining fight, and he's going to bring what the audience wants to see, and that's pure action basically. And then
I don't know about you guys, but John Finch got me again.
Oh,
I was like,
yeah,
he sucked me in. I was like, man, I'll check out John Finch. Maybe he'll go maybe he's going to switch it up, and nope, it was the same old John Finch, take down and hold down.
Yeah, John Finch that was one of the most boring fights I've ever seen. I mean, and Dennis Hallman, you can even beat Dennis Hallman convincingly. I mean, I guess he got the decision, but do you really even take credit for a win like that when you literally laid on him for 15 minutes, and that's not even an exaggeration.
Well, I think John Finch is taking credit for a career like that. So.
Hallman didn't even look like he was in a fight after the fight. It was awful.
Yeah. Well, before
Melvin Gillard looked pretty good, though. I don't know if you guys saw the Gillard fight, but he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
He knocked out the guy, yeah.
Before we move on, but are you a fan of World Series of Fighting on the NBC home network?
I am, but I just think that putting it on a Saturday at 1 o'clock, people probably weren't even home at that time, or if they were, they had to record it and, watch it recorded or whatever. So I like the idea of doing it on NBC, but if they're going to do it on NBC, maybe they should try to get
like
one more big-name fighter and put him on the main event and put it in prime time, 5, 6, 7 o'clock.
The other dilemma I see is their next event, they haven't even announced any of the fighters and like that. And I feel like they really dropped, not I wouldn't say dropped the ball, but I think they missed an opportunity. If you're on national network, you might want to promote your next show on it, regardless if it's still going to be on NBC or switch it back to NBC Sports. True. I thought.
That's right. And the other fighter on there, I don't know if you guys want to go there, is the local Rancho Cucamonga fighter, Cody Bollinger. He looks really good. He submitted his opponent. I don't remember his name, but he submitted his opponent. And the only problem is he missed weight again. But he still looked really good, and it seems like the way the announcers were kind of marketing Cody Bollinger is that they're kind of looking at him to be the face of their organization, maybe moving into the future.
Yeah, well, obviously World Series of Fighting is still growing, so we look forward to bigger stuff from them. But let's move on to the big show. the big night, highlight of the night, UFC 175. Overall thoughts of the card, guys. I mean, Guillermo, did you like it?
I thought it was a little lackluster. I told Albert, watching
fireworks for you.
Yeah, I was like, it was supposed to be a stacked card. It really didn't feel like that though.
Then,
well, do you want to talk a little bit about Kevin Casey? He looked really good.
Yes,
he did. And you previously was it you or Alex that saw him?
Alex saw him live.
And
he's a big dude, man. Swings for the fences. Obviously, I wasn't surprised he got knocked out because
yeah. So I think he's on the way back up. And I don't know about you guys, but Bruce Leroy came to fight. I mean, I think it just there's a big difference as far as like talent.
Yeah.
But as the fact that he was able to make Uriah Faber struggle and maybe think and make him second guess some of the stuff.
Yeah.
I thought was a win on its own.
Yeah. What about Jay? Did you see that fight, Faber and Bruce Leroy?
Yeah, that was probably the fight of the night. To be honest, main card order prelims. I mean, obviously the Weidman Machida fight is probably going to be fight of the year just because of who was in there, but. Faber and Bruce Leroy was an awesome war. I mean, Faber caught him at the end with the submission, and that kind of just shows Bruce Leroy was outclassed a little bit. But gosh, I'm definitely going to, I'm not a really big fan of Bruce Leroy in the past just because of how he was on tough. But that guy can fight. He's a warrior.
He's 26 years old, so hopefully this is just like a marking point in his career, and I think maybe this is the fight that kind of kicks it up to his next level.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll jump into the card. Russell Doan defeats Marcus Brimage. Uriah Hall. You guys want to talk about Uriah Hall?
Well, I was just impressed. Yeah, I was more impressed about his performance with the broken toe. I think he should have won the fight. No, without that injury, he shouldn't have had a problem. But thanks to the injury,
it was a nasty toe too. Because the bone was sticking out and everything.
Mm-hmm. So I was more impressed by Uriah Hall sticking it out and finishing the fight.
What about you, Jay?
The best part about that fight was the post-fight interview. I thought that was kind of cool the way he kind of came out and said, if life knocks you down, call it your bitch, and if you get back up, and that kind of. I just thought that was kind of cool. He came out like that and kind of put himself out there.
Yeah, I think he kind of has to now because I think he was such a big disappointment after Tough that now I think he's starting to roll out. Now he just shows personality, do the promos, do the Dan Cormier's line of things, get yourself out there, sell yourself. Also, I want to jump to one of the biggest questions tonight. Ronda Rousey demolishes Alexis Davis.
Hey, you skipped over Stefan Struve.
Oh yeah, Stefan Struve actually.
It was canceled, so we should probably cancel him.
He fainted backstage before the fight even happened. So him and Matt Mitrione obviously couldn't fight, but they both got the money. And then word is now that Stefan Struve's doing okay, but I'm just like, what caused him to pass out?
I think this is the end of Stefan Struve.
I think so too. He said some soul searching to do so, but it's unfortunate. He was a fan favorite. But also, I want to jump to Ronda Rousey. Demolishes Alexis Davis in 16 seconds. Hey, Jason, is there any point in her fighting in the women's division anymore? And could anybody challenge her?
I don't think so. I mean, other than obviously Cyborg, if that ever were to happen, she could get off the roids for a minute. But I mean, that was crazy. I mean, I was sitting there at first when it happened so fast, and I was thinking to myself, man, they stopped that fight too soon. Then when they showed the replay, and Alexis Davis literally was unconscious after like the third hit, I was like, man, that guy just saved her life.
Yeah.
But she is just an absolute animal. I mean, I truly think that she could probably beat some of the dudes that are in the UFC.
Wow, you actually said that?
The guys that were on this most recent season of Tough. I mean, that was horrible. But she's a monster. I think Cyborg, I think she would probably just outclass her and probably do a judo throw and armbar because Cyborg's.
Well, that remains to be seen. But Albert, your thought, really quick. You're the one who picked Alexis Davis out of all of us. So, just your thoughts on the fight.
Well, it was very disappointing, but I still think Ronda Rousey's biggest opponent is still out there, even though they already faced, and she technically won. Is McMahon.
Sarah McMahon.
And Sarah McMahon actually fights next month in August. Mm-hmm. So hopefully she has a dominant win and we can actually see the fight that we were promised. Yeah. Because I still think that was still early stoppage, regardless of what anybody can tell me how it feels like to get hit in the solar plex. I do think it was an early stoppage, and I really do think she's the one to beat Ronda Rousey.
Not Kat Zingano?
Kat Zingano, she won't be back until late next year.
I really think this is the end of Ronda Rousey. I mean,
she has point, right?
Yeah, she has nothing else to prove. She is the best.
Expendables are coming out.
Yeah, she's the best woman in the planet. Yeah. No questions about it.
Well, then in that case, I just think it's about how much Expendable makes.
Yeah.
If it reaches the 250 million mark, she retires. If it's underneath, then she doesn't.
One last point. I know we touched on the Machida Weidman thing, but after Machida's performance, Jason, you were the biggest proponent of Jason. Machida, he's a runner. He's a really box. He just runs all the time. After last night's performance, you have to be impressed by the guy now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed with his heart. I I'm impressed with the fact that he got hit.
Fought, right? What's the biggest people talk crap about Cheetah? Oh, he never fights. He just runs all the time, right?
With some heavy shots. I mean, he's still a counter striker, and I don't really like counter strikers. I mean, bottom line is, I never thought that Weidman was truly in trouble. I mean, I was a little bit concerned, but just because I didn't want to see him stop it prematurely. But I was never really concerned for his safety or anything like that. Machida's never impressed me. I've never been all that impressed by him, and I'm always going to be bitter for the way that he did my boy Randy Couture with that front kick. Man, you don't do that to a 48-year-old man.
All right, Jay. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with us. UFC 175 is in the books, and let the Weidman era begin. But like Albert says, the dragon will always rise, right?
That's directly from Game of Thrones.
Chris the Dragon Slayer Weidman is his new name.
All right, Jay. Thank you, man.
All right, guys. Yeah.
Please visit FiveRoundMMA.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. FiveRoundMMA.com.
Welcome back. More UFC to handle. Can you guys digest all this UFC? You had UFC 175 on Saturday, the tough finale on a Sunday, and then July 16th coming up in a week as the UFC Fight Night, Cerrone versus Miller. Also that, you got Conor McGregor and Dublin fighting. So it's pretty intense, right?
Not necessarily the cards themselves, but the actual main event fights. That's what I really care about. That's how I keep track.
Yeah. So basically, we're kind of off this week, but next week we got McGregor and Miller. It's just kind of like we have a week off, but still it's kind of like with World Series of Fighting. Is it kind of tough to keep up for you guys?
It's a little bit
for the people Series on the undercards and things like that.
Well, World Series actually helped us out by making it early, and then we get UFC, but. It is kind of. I wish we would book it better.
Well, I mean, obviously, for the first one, you got Cerrone and Miller. That itself is a pivotal match in the division, correct?
Yeah, yes. But if you look at the other
for a gatekeeper like Donald Cerrone,
yeah. But it's almost like you have all these guys on the roster, and it's just kind of just throwing it together, right? It's not like. But like you said, it would have been better served for Cerrone to be on the pay-per-view, right?
Matter of fact...
Not only that, the BJ Penn, the Frankie Edgar, and then the Conor McGregor list all stack up UFC 175, and that would have been so much pay-per-view buys.
Yeah.
And then the one thing I wanted to say was before the pay-per-views had like a story to tell.
Yeah.
Like this is a welterweight showdown pay-per-view, or
like
with this matchup is going to determine the whoever's going to face so-and-so, and guess what? They're on the same card. And it kind of now feels like let's just get the big names and put them as the main event, and then let the fighters that can fight just fall in.
Well, it seems like nowadays, whenever a main event gets canceled, the whole card falls apart, right?
I just feel there's less opportunity to watch, especially because you're talking about time differences. You're talking about different networks. I mean, I used to like it when maybe I can watch Nate Marquardt versus James Tahuna on pay-per-view on the undercard.
Well, speaking, especially with because that's an undercard fight, not a main event, but also with the recent announcement that Jose Aldo's out against Chad Mendes at UFC 176. What's that card's almost like left out a main event now, and it's kind of like they can't even bump up one of the cards the fights to the main event because
that's what happens when you water it down.
Yeah. You think they would have learned their lesson when the whole John Bon Jones thing happened? Remember when he got hurt?
Yeah.
And the whole card fell apart.
Yeah.
And then soon after that, you saw him kind of stack the cards a little bit more. And then now they went back down. It's because of let's keep it real. It's because of the Fight Pass. That's why they started watering it down. Yeah. Because they wanted more events.
I mean,
but now you run into these issues where if the main event falls through, you kind of don't even have a card.
Well, you look back at UFC 100, any of those fights could have been a main event.
Yeah, 3 or 4 fights that were just completely stacked.
Exactly, and that it was the highest ratings ever, UFC 100. And and ever since then, it kind of gets more watered down.
And it's funny, too, because they also just announced that the John Bon Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson fight. Mm-hmm. Guess who's the co-main event on that one? Renan Barão and TJ Dillashaw. So it feels like maybe that's what they need is to have a card fall through, because then they go and stack one of the nearby cards. Because I'm pretty sure they don't want to risk it on that one.
Look at the projected lineup for UFC 176. The co-main event was Jacare against Gegard Mousasi. But there's no way they're gonna bump that to pay-per-view status, right?
Unless they this is a fight night. It's not a.
But it's a pay-per-view caliber fight.
I'm talking about UFC 176. Oh, or that Chad Mendes doesn't have an opponent. The co-main event for that one was Jacare and Gegard Mousasi. But there's no way. This is the first time Mousasi's fighting in the U.S. under the UFC banner, right?
Yeah, because they've been putting him on Fight Pass too. So
there's like that they're out the main event now. It's either we get somebody to replace for Mendes, or do you even think they'll put Mendes against somebody in the main event?
I think Cub Swanson is too fresh off his fight, so I would take Chad Mendes out of that card.
And even your boy Ricardo Lamas.
Yeah, he just fought too.
He broke his hand.
He has a broken hand.
But even that too, would they put Mendes and Lamas as the main event for pay-per-view?
No.
That would go to the fact that it is kind of watered down.
I remember reading somewhere someone made a good one, which was Chad Mendes versus Ronda Rousey.
That's the dinner I was getting at that, right? When he asked her on Saturday, are you available for next month? It's 135.
Well, she was getting stitches on her knuckles too, so supposedly that she might be out for a long period of time.
I'm pretty sure
she said she was going to have knee surgery.
Yeah, and a big old press tour for Expendables 3. So, but I mean, like, obviously, it's just a lot to handle. Obviously, we're not complaining because it's obviously we have something stuff to talk about. But it's tough to keep up, and then people are complaining that, okay, well, if one match goes out, it's like a Jenga set, right?
Yeah, disaster.
You take about one piece and the whole thing collapses. But I mean, people are talking about the NFL being watered down or too diluted, right? With how many games a week?
They didn't even have another featherweight matchup here, so you didn't even have a potential person in case one of them got hurt to step in. Yeah. There's no other featherweight in that card. That's what I'm telling you. When before they would try to at least. The co-main event or maybe one of the top names was also in the same weight class.
One last question before we leave is an oversaturation of UFC or oversaturation of the sport. Is there a difference? Like, can you watch like Bellator and then World Series Fight and then watch UFC? Is that too much MMA or is it too much UFC for one? Like, is there a difference between you guys in that?
No, I think it has to be too much UFC because World Series of Fighting is a perfect example of where they need talent. Yeah. But yet UFC has all these fighters, and yet you don't really get to see them because they're on the Fight Pass. They're going to be shown early in the day, and so obviously it has to be UFC has too much events because World Series of Fighting is looking for fighters and Bellator is looking for fighters.
Well, I'll take the different approach. To me, I'll compare a little bit more to the World Cup. You can't get enough of the World Cup because it's the best of the best. If you look at UFC and you're looking at all these MMA events, it's usually you get one or two main event caliber fights, but then the rest of them are a bunch of coming up undercard people. You don't really care for it, so then that's where it gets a little bit diluted. But if you have the best of the best, you throw in the main events of UFC, main events of World Series, main event of Bellator, you can watch all day.
Yeah, but it's also like when the World Cup's over, all these guys go to different leagues, right? There's the Liga, the Premier League, the MLS.
And then that's when it becomes too much.
So, I mean, I guess, obviously people are complaining, right?
I don't know. I still have this soccer fever, and I'm telling you, I'm going to start watching the Premier League. I can't wait for the MLS playoffs.
We'll see how long that lasts because the Premier League is about, 48 games.
We'll see.
That's a lot to keep up.
Fevers are meant to be broken.
And they got the NFL coming up, so we all play fantasy. That's coming up.
And I'm the biggest soccer fan here, and I mean, it's just too much soccer sometimes.
We'll see.
All right, so that's it for today. No Ollie the Trolley, so we're not gonna have a rockin'. So we
no, but he told me by default I should win it every single time. So I think I am the winner.
We'll give it to him because I know
Albert this week super stained Rocky Green star of the show.
He's already had a lot of suffering with Machida losing.
Yeah, so we'll give it to you this week. Also, that segment is brought to you by Rockin' Green. Go visit rockandgreensoap.com for the full line of eco-friendly soaps and detergents, and follow them on Twitter.
Hey, my mom likes it, so
Rockin' Soap.
That tells you everything there.
In the meantime, make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FiveRoundMMA. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, and Podomatic. And always check out FiveRoundMMA.com. While you're surfing the web, please visit OvertimeNation.com where you can read all of our stuff on soccer, MMA. We dabble in a little everything here. So we have a lot of opinions and we express them. Right?
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not. But so please visit OvertimeNation.com and follow them on Twitter at Overtime_Nation. They're also looking for writers too. So if you or a friend wants to get in the sports writing genre or industry, hit them up. And also a big thank you to Redemption Martial Arts. The RMA Foundation is a non-profit organization committed to anti-bullying awareness. Please visit their website at redemptionmartialarts.com to see how you can join the movement to stop bullying, and follow them on Twitter at redemption_MA. Rise up against bullying. Albert, take us away.
Real quick, I'd like to thank our executive producer, Guillermo Cita. Even though our sound engineer and engineer are gone, they're on vacation because of the 4th of July weekend. Still a big thank you to Ollie the Trolley and Steven Rosal with Rosal Records. And just thank everybody for listening.
I am the world heavyweight champion of the world. Oh, yeah. The cream of the crop.